Hi, I'm Joanna. I work at the Financial Times, and I'm currently leading a team of developers who work in the newsroom, and we focus on working on individual stories. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how we've used closed captioning for FT stories. Just for some background, is most of these examples are going to be out of our New York office because I was most recently there, and also because our data sources are mostly from American television. So a couple of examples of where we've used closed captioning for reporting is a couple of larger events that happened earlier this year. We put a lot of resources into covering the Syria airstrikes earlier this year, and also things like the Mark Zuckerberg Senate hearing. And these are events that had many hours of interviews and things that people needed to be able to follow for long periods of time. And so obviously if we're covering things for 24 hours, it's very difficult for reporters over a very large period of time to be keeping up with every single thing. So something that we did was we used opencaptions.com. So someone named Dan Schultz, who was here last year, he built a piece of software that sits somewhere in the MIT Media Lab, I think still. And essentially it takes captions from C-SPAN and it just spits it out into a web page. And then we also took some work that Vox did maybe a couple of years ago, which takes all of that and makes it possible to stream to a Google Doc. And so what we've done is we've created a template Google Doc and allow reporters to basically grab C-SPAN captions whenever they wanted, which meant that when the Mark Zuckerberg hearings happened and they went for 6 hours, they could start a Google Doc. It would stream in for about 6 hours of content, and you didn't have to watch all of it, or if you watched all of it, you could kind of tune out for certain periods of it and still get quotes afterwards. This is really useful, and so we've basically created a template Google Doc. Anyone can use it. We have a couple options of being able to update it manually every minute, or reporters can kind of just jump into this doc whenever you want and update it when they need to. It's been really helpful so far, and so hopefully we'll be able to expand this a bit more with other channels. But at the moment we're just doing C-SPAN, and we can do, I think, MSNBC and a couple at CNN. Other things that we've done, the thing to kind of keep in mind though is that transcripts aren't always correct. So we used this for the State of the Union earlier the year, and this is where we were 2 orders of magnitude off. So when Trump said that since we passed tax cuts, over 3 million workers have gotten tax cut bonuses, it was transcribed as 300 million. So thank goodness we had very good eagle-eyed reporters who caught that almost immediately, so we never actually ran with that. So, but that is something to kind of keep in mind as you're using transcripts. So something else that we've done with transcripts is that we have started to annotate them as well in certain cases. So something like the State of the Union address. They're often more for show, and people usually want to actually understand what is actually happening. So some people have done fact-checking with them. What we've decided to do at the FT is we try to just give more context. So sometimes it's fact-checking, sometimes it's giving some context on the atmosphere of what's happening in the room, and then sometimes it also links out to previous content. So one of the challenges of doing this in real time is that it's difficult to get transcripts. So usually what will happen is if you're part of the press, you can sign up for a press list and they'll try to give you the speech that they've written ahead of time. As you can imagine, if you're Donald Trump, you tend to ad-lib a little bit, and that kind of stuff doesn't happen. You can't really get that ahead of time. So getting the closed captioning streaming into a Google Doc means that we can also annotate what sections have been added since they prepared the speech. And then this also means that multiple reporters can go in and annotate things at the same time. So this is what our Google Doc looked like. The blue is the actual thing we're annotating, and the green is the annotations from the reporters, and that's where it is at the end. That's pretty much all I've got. So. Fabulous. Oh, I think that's it.
Are there any questions?
Well, was there some grumbling that led to the 3 into 300 thing?
So, I mean, there were people who were looking at it as it was coming in, and so obviously everyone was watching it at the same time. And so, and also I think if you cover the US pretty well, so we only have about 350 million people total. and definitely not 300 million people got tax cuts. So,
Could you get some automatic fact checking thing?
on our fact sheet, I think we haven't really gone into that into like any automatic stuff. I think, yeah, we haven't really done it. I don't have a good answer for you for that.